So what is your perspective of the mainstream and heavy music's place in it now that you are really diving into both worlds?
I think it's really cool, and I think that there's, you know, never been a time where people are more receptive to it than now. I think there are all these little subgenres that are crossing over. Um, like specifically, we played Rolling Loud last year in Miami, which is a rap festival, and
Yeah.
I think the Turnstile was the first band to ever play it. Um,
Wow.
and we weren't sure what to expect. It was like at the very tail end of the Blink tour. So I think it was the second last show in the US of that summer, and we played, and kids were going mad. Like you looked out, and it was just like circle pits everywhere, and kids were moshing harder than they had at some of the like heavier festival crowds, and were just so receptive to it. And I think there's just so much enthusiasm for it right now. There are so many bands that are crossing out of like the DIY scene and playing to different audiences, and yeah, it's sick.
That
I
is
really like
really
it.
cool
I
to
don't.
hear.
Yeah, I think that sometimes there's an attitude of gatekeeping, but I don't honestly don't even think about it. It's just fun. It's so much fun.
And like once you put someone like Turnstile on those stages, it's like success for everybody. It's success for them, which obviously in order to keep making music and keep touring, we need success, right? And so then that can even transfer into, okay, if these fans at Rolling Loud are loving Turnstile, they're gonna go listen to some other bands now, then that's gonna bring them up and keep good music coming, right? So I
Yeah,
agree with you. What is the problem with like no need to gatekeep? Let
yeah.
everybody
No,
succeed.
no gatekeeping.
I
I think
know.
there's. I think. Hmm. When I was younger, maybe there was more of an attitude of gatekeeping because it felt like a very special, sacred thing. But
Right.
I think gatekeeping it doesn't do anything except um stop it from being able to live. Like otherwise it would die out. Like, and we've seen that happen in the communities that gatekeep it the most. Hardcore just dies. Like the venue shuts down and then that's it. Whereas
Yeah.
what's the problem if like, you know, bands that have come from a DIY scene and completely like um lived all of these values for years and years and years, and they then, you know, involve a larger audience in that's amazing.
It's true. And I guess that comes maybe from a wiser mind because, like, as you get older, because I too do remember being younger. And when you feel like an outcast, when
Mm-hmm.
you don't fit in with everybody else and you find
Yeah.
your music, you get really
Mm-hmm.
protective of it because you don't
Yeah.
want those people who are kind of keeping you out of their world to come into yours. So I
Yeah.
understand where gatekeeping comes from. But yeah, it's like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, if you love an artist, want them to thrive. So I
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah. And I will say it was kind of funny because so long story super short, I've been on a
Mm-hmm.
couple dating apps recently and they show like on Spotify. I know, it's not a good
I've
time.
been there.
Not enjoying it. But they like one of them will show what they're listening to on Spotify, right? So you can see
Mm-hmm.
like mutual music, and I will see these people who are listening to like Post Malone or like Imagine Dragons and mainstream stuff, and then it's like Turnstile, and I'm like, this is
Wow.
like I'm seeing it. You know, people where the
Mm-hmm.
only band or the only heavy thing on their profile is Turnstile. I'm still gonna swipe
Yeah.
left, but you know, it's nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah, and there'll be people that are like, oh, you know, I heard Turnstile from like the Spotify indie playlist. And I do
Wow.
think that's testament to their songwriting creativity that they can, you know, have all of these little threads of different music that they weave into what is ultimately a hardcore band.